Do you own a dog, cat, bird, or other pet? Did you know that many homeowners and renters policies don't cover animal or pet liability claims, so you may be held liable if an incident, accident, or claim occurs? At X Insurance, we provide customized liability insurance coverage for any animal or pet regardless of type, size, age, or bite history. X Insurance provides third-party liability coverage for injuries or property damage done to others by your pet. An X Insurance policy will fill the gaps in your homeowner's or renter's coverage and provide the protection you need for true peace of mind to protect your assets. X Insurance offers 30-plus years of professional experience, providing solutions for many types of specialty risks in all 50 states. If you own an ATV, electric scooter, golf cart, etc., then we've got you covered. Visit xinsurance.com or call 877-585-2853 today to learn more or to get a free quote.
Welcome to Welcome Home Doggy. I'm Arianna Lasha, and today I'll be speaking with Justin Maslanka from Ahimsa House. Justin, thank you so much for being here with us today. You're our first Zoom interview, so we'll see how it goes.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be a part of this. So I really appreciate you guys including us in this opportunity.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us who Ahimsa House is? What are you guys all about?
Yeah, so Ahimsa House is a 501c3 nonprofit based in the state of Georgia, and we provide temporary confidential housing for pets seeking safety from domestic violence. What we do is we provide up to 60 days worth of temporary care through a network of veterinary, boarding, and foster partners throughout the entire state. Back in 2004, we were started by a survivor, Emily Christie, who unfortunately lost her cat while she was escaping a domestic violence incident. And so she wanted to create a way that would try and limit this from occurring for other survivors. So we, as a group that works with animals and survivors of domestic violence, we heavily believe in the importance of involving animals and humans with their healing process, and we see how important animals are for humans as a emotional support, as well as a part of the actual family.
Of course. So if a survivor is in need of accommodations, what kind of services do you provide for them?
Yeah, so our program provides a lot outside of just the 60 days that we're well known for. We have a 24-hour crisis line that is staffed by the advocates, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And outside of that, we have volunteers who undergo training in order to be able to answer callers' questions, whether it's about the program, about their pets, or if it's just somebody that's in a general crisis situation. We also assist with transportation, pet deposits, vetting for their preventative care, including their basic vaccines and heartworm and fecal tests. We also do flea, tick, and heartworm prevention for all of the pets that are in our program. We also, being regulated by the Department of Agriculture, we are required to make efforts to spay and neuter all of the animals that are eligible for that or deemed medically eligible for that in our program. So many clients who have entered our program where the animals have never interacted with another human or another animal before because they were so secluded by the abuser. And so our program really does try to accommodate all of those various needs for the pets, as far as if they have behavioral concerns or if they have, of course, their allergies and stuff like that. We do everything we can to try and accommodate a temporary place with a vetting facility, boarding facility, foster care. And there are certain situations where if a client does not necessarily need our housing assistance, we are also more than happy to still help with vetting care as well as a pet deposit if they're trying to move into a housing situation with their pet. We assist regardless of the number or type of pets. We have had snakes and lizards and turtles. My first year, I had a better part of a few months with a 7-inch aquatic turtle in my office, and it was fantastic. So outside of our normal cats and dogs, we absolutely will do what we can to accommodate chickens and horses and cows. If there's a family member pet that is in need of safety from domestic violence, we will do everything that we absolutely can to try and provide that.
Wow, well, you already answered some of my big questions. I was going to ask you what happens if I show up with a baby alligator, but you said you guys are willing to make all kind of accommodations, so that's
We
amazing.
will absolutely make whatever accommodations we can. We have in the past reached out to different people who have exotic animal licenses. That way, we did get a call about a giraffe one time, and although we did not end up needing it, we did reach out to a couple of local zoos that would have exotic animal licenses to be able to assist with that situation. So it's really pretty interesting that we get to be very creative. I have personally housed a ferret myself, and I am always having a pet or two that ends up doing an intermission in between a transport or spay or neuter situation. So we definitely try and make things work wherever we can.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think it's amazing that you guys provide so many different options and are willing to accommodate for different people because no situation is the same, I'm sure. But where are you guys located?
So we are actually located in Tucker for our administrative office. We provide services, though, throughout the entire state of Georgia. So as long as a client is seeking safety within the state with their pet, we can help provide a safety plan. So we've had people that have escaped other states to Georgia, and we've been able to help them with a safety plan for their pet.
So, being that you're the victim services coordinator for Ahimsa House, can you speak on the link between domestic violence and animal abuse? Does that occur? Is there one?
Yeah, so we absolutely talk a lot about the link between animal abuse and domestic violence because we recognize that violence, especially interpersonal violence, does not occur inside of a vacuum. And so when there's something like that going on in a household, not only is violence escalating in nature, but every single member of the household can unfortunately be affected by that violence. We have, as I mentioned, seen pets that may not have had access to veterinarian care or proper nutrition. They may not have had any interactions with other people or animals. But we also have seen situations where abusers have used the animal as a tool for trying to prevent the survivor from leaving. They'll say things such as threatening the pet or threatening the livelihood of the pet if the client may leave. And so that's a big reason why when we make our safety plans with people, we try to get the person and the pet out of the household at the same time if possible. We do get calls from people who are already at shelter and need assistance with possibly working with law enforcement to get a pet from a household that they may have already left. But quite often, when we're talking to callers about creating a safety plan, we're working with them to try and coordinate a safe space for them while also trying to coordinate a plan for their pet. So we recognize that if we weren't to take these safety measures, we could see unfortunate situations with pets. We have absolutely heard of stories in the news where people have not been able to leave because they were concerned about the well-being of their pets.
So, the talk of the town, the talk of the nation, coronavirus, what's been happening with Ahimsa House as far as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic? Have you guys been seeing an influx in cases or anything like that?
Yeah, so we have seen that during the coronavirus pandemic, there has been an increase in domestic violence incidents across the nation and actually across the globe. And so we have absolutely noticed a increase in calls for general assistance, whether it's finding resources for housing or domestic violence assistance. But we also have been providing more veterinarian care and spay neuter services. We've been trying to provide additional assistance with hotel stays where we're able to. During the coronavirus situation, we noticed that many of the shelters were adapting, but it was still very difficult to try and find a facility that was currently open for a client to be able to safely stay. And so we started figuring out that many of these shelters were starting to put survivors up in hotels. And so we began looking into pet friendly hotels so that we could assist with this and pay the fee for the pet to stay with them And so we were finding that we were doing a bit more of that for a period of time. And our general caseload did actually drop initially in the March area. And so we did have last year some staggering numbers as far as assistance wise. But coming into this year, it was much, much lower because we were finding that people were able to have friends and family members help them with housing the pets because their friends and family members were now working from home or otherwise able to or have the time to assist with those pets. Um, Now, in the last month, we have seen a increase back to our general intake numbers. There was a period in time back in March where we maybe had a case or two coming in a week, whereas now we're probably getting closer to an average of 5 to 10 cases a week. So before the pandemic, we had nearly 70 pets and well over 30 clients in our program. And at this point, we only have about 24 clients and just over 30 pets. So the pandemic has definitely caused a big change in the way that our calls have been received and the way that we've gone about assisting with different cases because we've absolutely had to adapt to the situations as far as making safety plans and also for assisting the survivors that are in our program. We do have several survivors that experience some very difficult hardships right after entering our program because they may have entered our program right in February or right as things were starting to break down. So we have tried to do everything that we can to assist those clients in finding resources for themselves, but also for the pets to try and help assist them to be able to get them back.
I mean, you are so easy to talk to. You're very friendly, you're very open, and I think that people, would love to use your services. You make that very a viable option for them. And you're so young too to have so many success stories and to have these personal connections with people. Just based off of our conversation, we found out we have the same alma mater, go Owls. But just go ahead and tell me how you got your start with Ahimsa House. Where do you see your career going personally?
Well, I got started with Ahimsa House as a intern at Kennesaw State University. I was looking through the handshake portal for internship opportunity and came across Ahimsa House and instantly was a little bit intrigued by something that I wasn't quite sure how to pronounce. And so when I looked it up, it turned out that Ahimsa House or Ahimsa is Sanskrit for nonviolence, which resonated a lot with me as a self-identified pacifist and a raised Quaker. So it's been something that was very dear to me. And then I realized that it was assisting animals.
Well, thank you for sharing your own personal growth with Ahimsa House. In your words, in your thoughts, where do you see Ahimsa growing as they move forward? Do you guys see yourself expanding beyond Atlanta? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so Ahimsa House, it started back in 2004 as a centralized location. We decentralized in 2007. We did have an office in Decatur up until 2000, I think, oh wow, 2018 and or 2019, somewhere in the cusp there. So we've recently moved to Tucker into a larger administrative office where we've been able to um, well, we were able to provide hostings for different trainings, but that in itself did allow us to expand our ability to provide outreach services to different areas. And even though our administrative office is in Tucker, we hardly ever spend any time right inside the metro Atlanta area when it comes to actually talking to and reaching out to different programs, especially because our outreach coordinator, Samantha Altfest, is constantly going to different meetings, and now they're virtual. But that means that we all get to have a little hand in that as well to just pass the message along. So I've done presentations all the way down in Valdosta, and I look to try and talk to some people up in Blue Ridge soon to just give some more information about us, whether it's to domestic violence shelters so that they can refer clients coming into us, or we also talk with local law enforcement agencies so that they can look into the signs and know about us. We also talk to veterinarians and local humane societies. That way they can also know that as they are working with somebody or hearing that somebody's talking about this incident, knowing that we're an option may mean that we can go ahead and start assisting with that. We've had humane societies call us because somebody is calling to surrender an animal, but they knew about us, and so they're more than happy to print out the paperwork, let the client sit there and fill it out, and then fax it back to us while we get that permission to be able to start providing services for that pet. And so right now, our biggest thing is trying to figure out and adjust to, with COVID, of course, we're doing a lot more video calls and conferences. Our crisis line training was originally a 10-hour in-person training at our office, which was the only time that crisis line volunteers were ever required to be somewhere specific for any particular reason, because crisis line volunteers were already a remote situation. And so now the training is completely remote. Our transporters and our fosters have also been continuing to roll in applications, which is great. At the very beginning of this, we had so many foster applications coming through that for the first time ever in our program, not a single pet was in a boarding facility. Every single pet that was in our program was in a foster home, which was mind-blowing. And so that was really very cool to see, and we're continuing to have that kind of support. So we are continuing to try and just provide as many services as we can and continue to build our network. But we also are moving forward with moving our trainings to online and creating additional trainings for our volunteers, as well as COVID safety procedures. We did release a emergency preparedness safety video at the beginning of all of this because it was actually something that we'd recently been talking about releasing at the end of the previous year. And then it just seemed very timely to talk about our safety precautions in general, as well as right now. And so as we're still getting new volunteers, we just had a crisis line training this weekend. We're continuing to give them information about how to do safe drop-off situations, as well as drive-through situations at many of our facility partners. And so it's been a really interesting time to transition and have these new situations pop up. But along with that, we were able to apply to have some of our boarding funds go towards assisting with housing pets with people in hotels if a shelter wasn't able to house the person. And so it has really, while it's been interesting, it's also opened up a lot of different opportunities for us. We've also started to be able to do wish lists for clients through Amazon wish lists, which has been really, really exciting to post on our Facebook page that either a client that's currently in the program, getting ready to reclaim, or exited and possibly needing assistance with supplies, has a list that they've asked about. And then people can directly purchase those items, and then that person's address is still completely confidential. It just has a Ahimsa House on there. But then those items can be directly sent to those people that need them. And the people that are still at home looking for a way to be involved are still able to have that involvement, even if they're not comfortable doing the transport or don't have the ability to physically have a pet within their home.
And I'm glad you mentioned like the aspect of volunteers. So if people are interested in volunteering with Ahimsa House, do they just go to your website, or how did the training look?
Yeah, so our website, ahimsahouse.org, has a click through that you can actually find our volunteer stuff. If you want the direct link, it is ahimsahouse.org/how you can help. And through that link, you'll be able to find all of our applications for foster, transport, crisis line, and community outreach volunteers. And once those applications are submitted through the website, they actually go directly to myself and our outreach coordinator so that we can directly start the communications about next steps. We do perform GBI background checks on all of our fosters and transporters and crisis line volunteers. And then we also do Department of Agriculture checks on our foster homes, as well as discussing safety procedures with transporters and talking with them about knowing what all should be done in a car and doing that safely. So in addition to giving them some general information when they start learning about our program and they're working to process all of their paperwork, we also do have a couple of online videos that we've been creating to try and give them a better idea of maybe what to actually expect from our program that is continuing to constantly change and evolve. While we are a program that assists animal survivors of domestic violence within the state of Georgia, that really has begun to have a very broad meaning, even though we are a very niche organization. And so whether it means assisting with supplies, finding resources, pet deposits, anything like that, every time that we have a volunteer that joins the program and is able to either help get a pet from one to the other, or help house them, or even help with answering our 24-hour line that is, as I said, constantly monitored so that anyone who may need assistance can reach out. And then also our clients are always more than welcome to reach out to us. So as those applications continue to come in, we'll continue to process that paperwork and continue to improve our online trainings. That way, as we keep moving forward, our volunteers will also be able to move forward.
Thank you, Justin, for all of your insight. Thank you for your passion, and thank you for working with Ahimsa House, explaining your organization, and being here with us today. If you guys are interested in volunteering for Ahimsa, make sure you check out their website and check out our website at Welcome Home Doggy. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, leave us a comment below, and subscribe to our channel. That means you too, Justin, because we're going to have new interviews posting every week. Thank you. I'm Arianna, and we'll see you next time on Welcome Home Doggy.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. I really appreciate meeting with you guys. I look forward to the video.